This is a quick version of my tips for sketching a jacket by hand. I did it on the iPad, but let's pretend I'm using pencil and paper. Have my body. The first thing I want to do is define the V-neck. V-neck being that open portion between the lapels on the notched collar tailored jacket. As I draw that V-neck, then I have to decide as I get to the neck, how close is it to the neck and how tall is it? From up above the shoulder, how high is the stand to the back of the collar before it rolls, and then I hook from the V-neck to the back neckline, and I keep it concave like a back neckline is on a shirt or jacket. I feel out the shoulder lines, but only until they touch the collar, and where I draw this diagonal line. Oh, buttons. Okay, buttons, center of every button is on center front for a traditional jacket with an overlap. So the overlap is a line I draw next to the buttons down into the hemline. And then over the top button is your roll line that rolls out into the lapel. Then you have to have a seam for a tailored jacket. See the seam, and you see how I roll it where the roll line is? And then I add it's a two-piece collar, right? The collar piece that goes around the back of the neck joins to the lapels, and you can design any shape in the world, pointed, rounded, etc. You have a lot of freedom in the design of those lapels. Now I'm making some of my lines darker so that there's more of a 3D feel between the front and back of the jacket. Now I'm feeling out my armholes. Yes, most traditional jackets are going to have a set-in sleeve, which is why the arm on my croquis template on the body behind it is going down, straight down, because it's that kind of a jacket, set-in sleeve tailored. And I'm just feeling out the silhouette through the waist. Then I added a rounded pocket shaped almost like a circle with a welt in the middle. Adding shadows under the collar by giving a thicker line under each lapel so that they pop off in dimension. And then I added a little shoulder flange sort of extra insert to give silhouette to the cap of the sleeve. I added a scalloped hemline to this jacket. I mean, once you have your foundations down, you can start being really free, creating ideas. Sketching the set-in sleeve silhouette. I put a seam in each sleeve to show that it's a two-piece sleeve. And I'll also be adding a panel construction to this jacket. Oh, I just added dark line to the shoulder flange to give it a little, to show that separate dimension again. What else did I do? I pre-recorded this. There I am drawing in the panel style line, so that instead of having a side seam, we could just have a jacket panel that works for a less fitted jacket, a semi-fitted jacket, because then we're not using the side seam as shaping. I added a scalloped pocket details. So it's an inseam pocket in the panel, but then it has a special opening that has two scallops on it to tie in with the scallops at the hemline, which I will go back later and darken. I always, with my flats, I tend to use darker lines wherever I have separate layers. So you can see I did that under the lapels. I did it for all of my pocket openings, including the besom, the breast pocket. I did, but I also usually use a heavier line under the hemlines of sleeves and under the hemline of the jacket itself, because darkening, I use that to show where things are open. Just like the opening of the front of the jacket, I used an extra heavy line next to that overlap. Now here, I know that I noticed that I took that little croquis sketch template in the background and I'm making it disappear. And I'm creating a new layer. You'll see what I'm going to do. Just to make everything pop and feel clean, I'm taking the base layer and making it gray, but that's not all. I'm going to go back behind the jacket that I sketched. I'm going to select a white and create a white jacket on the gray background. That should have a nice pop to it. I have a paint tool that I use I use it a lot because it feels like gouache, and I like to do my illustrations with gouache. So it's slightly sheer, but it's masky and opaque. And what happens is I select an entire shape, and when I finish it, it fills with the color that I had selected. And you'll see how that, having a contrast between the background and the jacket itself helps it stand out. The silhouette will become much more distinct when you color it with what I call wet media. When you fill it with tone. And I like to use tones and lines and things that have a natural feeling, not too flat, not too slick, not too mechanical. I find this is more human and comfortable, more enjoyable when it has a human hand to it. Then I could see that I selected, what did I do? I selected an ink pen. Yeah, so there I wanted to play with bringing in a really sharp black line. Not always required, but I'm going back in and adding some darkest lines here and there. Because it's a casual and quick sketching. See, I'm showing those open areas with a darker line. You could also see I had put some top stitching around the pocket for reinforcement. I don't know if you saw that. I saw it when I zoomed in. See, I pre-sketched this without sound, and now I'm coming back and sort of narrating it to you. But this kind of, brings the jacket to life. And the thing is, maybe it's slower. I know it feels nothing like sketching with Adobe Illustrator, but it's like, no buts. It's pleasurable. And while you're doing it, your design keeps evolving because you keep interacting with it and thinking about it. And I really enjoy that process, and I hope that you will enjoy it too. I know that if you use those tools, I just added buttons, you can design your own. I want to see what you sketched. Share with me. Just tag me